here. I apologize about the delay. I was actually online, well, on the phone with a Care Bars partner trying to get them all situated and it went over. So I apologize about that. But we are live again, third stream today. We're going to be bringing a new, I'm on quarantine. I'm on quarantine. So, let's have productive conversations while I'm on quarantine. I can't go nowhere. I can walk around the block, which I'm going to do after this stream. I'm going to go take my little afternoon, night, evening walk and get some fresh air. But we are live, you guys. Oh, let me get Sister Obsidian on. Hold on one second. Obsidian,
Hey,
hello.
can you hear me?
Hey, how are you?
Good, good.
Yeah, I
Is
hear you.
it
I hear you good. I hear you.
okay? Great. Do you want me to do the share?
Yeah, well, hold on. Let me, do my announcements and then we can jump right
Okay.
in. All right, guys.
Alright.
So here we go. So before we get started, if you are looking for an opportunity, a work from home, starting a home business, dealing with gold, reach out to me. Dynastymir.com. Go to dynastymir.com. Send me an email, and I will get back to you. Also, too, let's see here. Okay, we'll cover that. We'll cover that. Obsidian, we will cover that. Why are we African Americans treated like investors in Africa? I don't. We need to expand on that because, well, maybe because some African Americans go to Africa to invest. Garnett, I don't know, but we could cover that. Also, too, make sure you guys go to dynastymir.com. Go to check it out, and then also too, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. All right, because I know you guys come in here, you don't subscribe, you don't hit the like button, and I got a problem with that. I take that personal. So who's Hash?
Oh, Hash is my partner.
Hash, where are you from?
Nigeria right now.
That's my partner.
Yeah, where are you from, Hash?
He's from Nigeria,
What part of Nigeria are you from, Hash?
Hmm.
from Benin, right?
Right, the state of Edo.
You from Edo State?
Yep.
Obsidian, where are you from?
I'm from Ogun State.
Ogun State. You from Ogun State? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. Perfect. 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 Perfect.
Wait, I don't
Hash,
know.
what
There's
up?
a delay.
Hash, what are you Edo? What are you?
Ishan.
Huh?
Esan.
You who?
Ishan.
Ishan. Okay.
Hmm.
Cool. Perfect.
That's a tribe in Edo State.
Okay. Cool. Perfect. 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 Perfect.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
we'll go ahead and get started, guys. Make sure you hit that like button. Again, why should African Americans invest um, in Nigeria? What are we missing out on? We should be focusing, a lot of us should be focusing on Nigeria because there's huge opportunities in Nigeria. So we're going to discuss that. Where did Obsidian go? Obsidian disappeared. Where'd your partner go, Hash?
Oh, she'll be right back. Sure, just connection. Let's give it a second.
Okay, cool. So Hash, go ahead and explain what you do and who you are and all that good stuff.
Well, right now working as an executive in oil and gas, but I've been through different industries.
Uh,
I probably have had more jobs than most people I know. I've worked on several cybersecurity opportunities with Obsidian, and I basically help startups and small businesses
Hey,
find the right
finally.
business models for them to grow and to start off.
okay.
Okay. Can you guys
Obsidian, where
hear
you
me?
at? Yeah, Obsidian, where are you at currently? Are you in Nigeria? Are you in America?
No, I'm actually in New Jersey.
New Jersey? Okay.
Yeah, I live very close to New York, actually, in Hoboken.
Okay, cool. All right, so we'll go ahead and jump into it. So Hash was explaining his background and what he does. And
Yeah.
Obsidian, you muted yourself. You got to mute yourself.
Oh
Okay,
yeah. So
explain to people what all you do and
what
who you.
I do, or both of us?
Well,
Okay.
okay, well, I'm doing like person by person. Like, okay, so
Okay.
explain what you do and who you are.
So I work in cybersecurity. I run a cybersecurity practice here in the US. And but then I also do a lot of work in Nigeria. Hash and I have done a lot of work together. We actually ran a conference where we brought Facebook and a bunch of American companies to Nigeria. That was in 2016. And Hash, he also, I guess Hash, you can talk about what you do in Nigeria.
Yeah, I just
Aside from, you already talked about that. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's basically what we do. And I really, really think that it's important that we talk about opportunities now. We've complained enough, but there are opportunities on the continent, and I think it's important to really key in on those opportunities, particularly in Nigeria, where I come from. And I'm going to delve into that. I am going to do a screen share. Should I start?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. It should. If it doesn't work, I think you emailed it to me, and I could share it. But try. Go ahead and try and share it.
Okay. Okay. I don't know if it's going to. I don't know how to use. Okay. Let's see here. Dennis, maybe you should share
Okay.
it.
Yeah,
I'm having some trouble here.
hold on 1 second. Here we go. All right, let's go. Let me go here. Let's see here. Share screen. Chrome tab. Here we go. Bam. Okay, here we go. Do you see it? Hello?
Yeah, I do. I do.
Okay,
I was
all
talking
right.
on
So,
mute.
all right. So
So,
go ahead.
okay.
Can you
So,
make it full screen?
Let's see here. Let me see if I can. Let's
click on the
see.
download. The third to the left, to the third arrow, the third icon on your right, at the very top.
Hold
Download
on.
it.
There we go. I mean, they'll see on the other devices. It'll be bigger than what it is right now than what we can see. But Obsidian, if you just look at it on your end, I could scroll and you just tell me where to stop and all that stuff.
Okay.
All right, so go ahead.
So,
Why not?
Nigeria. Yeah. Why Nigeria? So, first of all, Nigeria is the place to be if you're doing business in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Full stop. We have the population, and we hear about population all the time, but the population is very industrious, very hardworking people. But I'm going to start with telling you a few stories, right? I think
Okay.
stories help you connect. I'm going to start with telling you stories about legacy businesses on the continent. So just like we have in America, we have the Koch family, we have the JP Morgans and Rockefellers. We have some of those in Africa as well. And in Nigeria, we have people like Dangote, we have the Ifeanyi Ubas who manufacture drugs and pharmaceutical items. We have people like Pascal Doze who runs a bank with his sons and people like that, right? So why am I telling you about these people? I want you to think about Africa in terms of generational wealth, what it could mean for you if you start early. These are businesses, these are families that started businesses in the 1800s, in the 1900s, and they've passed their wealth down to their sons, their grandsons, and it's continuing on. But if you're going to become part of this stories like this, Africa is still fresh, right? This is the best time to get in. if you don't get in now that it's fresh, you're waiting for perfection.
Let me
It's
ask you
going
this. Let me ask you this. What's the window? Like it's 2020 right now. Like how much time do people have to get in where it's gonna be too late?
to, I'm going to say 10 years. If you don't get in within the next 5 to 10 years, it's going to be too late.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to delve into that. So the new economy, who are the players, right? I'm going to tell you, like point blank, the people that are playing in the industry right now are young people. 20s, if you're in your 30s, early 40s, you want to be in Nigeria. Nigeria is basically your playground. It's nothing like America. And that's the place where you can actually think big. Think big businesses. If you have a barber shop here in America, it's just like a corner shop. If you're going to have something like that in Nigeria, think about franchising. Think about having that in like 20 locations. That's the way you need to think about Africa when you're thinking of investing. So yesterday I talked about the air ambulance business. The lady that started it when she was 28 years old. And her name is Ola Orekuri. It's the first air ambulance business across West Africa. Today, she's a multimillionaire. She's only like 34, and she's investing in healthcare startups because she has ventured out into venture capitalism. So if you have a healthcare idea, I think she has invested in about 10 to 12 startups already in healthcare, Nigerian businesses. So my point is, if you have an idea right now for healthcare, there are people on ground like herself and a bunch of other people who would help you to bring your idea into fruition. But you have to be serious. You have to know what you're doing and you have to have a plan. In fact, you have to have started something because people need to see that you're serious. So let's move on to the opportunities that are there that you can actually key into. I think I'll let Hash kind of start there. Agriculture, first thing. Hash, do you want to take that?
You know what's crazy? I have
Yeah,
first of
just
all,
go.
guys, hold on one second. Hit that like button as you come to the chat room. Again, guys, hit that like button. I have an agricultural business degree from the University of Georgia here in America. I have not utilized it. But go ahead.
Hash,
Okay,
do you want
great.
to?
Thank you, guys. I mean, Africa is blessed with a lot of land, and if you speak about Nigeria specifically, there is almost 82 million hectares of land. We barely cultivated 50% of that. And if you look at the slides, it talks about how cheap you can get land for in a place like Ogun State to do about 3 hectares of land there. And with technology, there's folks right now who've come in from the States who are looking at things like aquaponics. This country consumes a lot of tin tomatoes. There's tomatoes that have been canned tomatoes, and it produces 120% of its requirement. However, sadly, it wastes 60% of that and has to import tin tomatoes. And so these are the types of opportunities. There's a lot of opportunity for value add. And again, one of the fil rouge or the threads, the red threads we can say in Africa is that if you look globally at all the places where we manufacture, produce, and farm today, Africa is the most virgin. Africa is on tap. So this is a fantastic opportunity to get into in Africa as long as you're moving with the right introduction.
Yes. So we can talk about some of the guys that are playing, doing some really cool businesses in agriculture. Most of them, again, very young. A lot of the businesses were started within the last 5 years. So Hash talked about some of the issues. So one of the biggest issues is spoilage. A lot of the times, post-production or post-harvest, the farmers by the time their goods get to the buyers, 60% of the goods are already spoiled. And obviously that's a waste. And there's also the issue of under investment, so financing. So companies like Farm Crowdy, it's kind of like crowd funding, helps farmers get access to cash. So basically what happens is buyers pay installment before the harvest, and the farmers use that installment to, produce crops. And by the time the crops are harvested, there are already buyers in the market. So that removes the risk of spoilage and removes the problem with financing. And this is just one company. There's opportunity for 20, even 50 of these types of companies in Nigeria, because Nigeria, once again, it's a big market, 200 million people, tons of opportunity for those types of things. And then we can go on and on. There are a lot of examples there. And then, so let's move on to minerals. Minerals, we talked about gold yesterday. There are a lot of opportunities there in the value chain. And I don't know if Hash wants to add anything about bitumen. I know there's some things going
Bitumen
on.
is, yeah, I mean, when it comes to minerals, the issues, let's just say right now, Africa is being tapped by non-Africans. And whatever action we're seeing in the mineral space and with things like gold, with different types of ores, semi-precious stones, tin, cobalt, are being tapped mostly from Asian investors, and there hasn't been a strong presence of the African American dollar in tapping some of these. And some of these are really low hanging fruit that when other players, larger players, choose to come into the country, see that you're already there, can take advantage of your position and even allow you to grow.
Yeah. And then fintech is the big one. Lots of players in fintech, financial technology. A lot of players here. There's a company called Paystack. This is actually one of all our Recurring's startups that she sponsored. Today, they're processing 10 billion naira a month. That's about 26 billion naira a month, dollars a month in Nigeria. They're still, and that is just about, I don't know, 60, 70% of the market, because we still have, don't forget, we still have 60 million Nigerians that are unbanked. So those 60 million Nigerians that are unbanked are off the grid. Can you imagine if you have access to the remaining 60 million? That number that is being processed a month is probably going to quadruple. You know what I mean? So there are lots of opportunities in fintech. So if you have any ideas on how you can bring the guys that are off the grid into the banking system, the opportunities there. Ayowo and VoguePay, they're similar to PayPal. There was a time Nigerians were locked out of the PayPal system. That's when this company started. So, this is what I mean when I say don't complain. If there's something that you want to be included in and you're not included, go and create your own. This is what Nigerians do perfectly. Next slide. The next, we can talk about education. Lots of opportunities here. Traditional education, like primary school education. I think this is where we can probably use the help of African Americans, maybe through exchange programs. So if you're studying education in college, or you're studying like math, engineering, or physics, chemistry, I think you could probably do like a 1-year exchange program in schools in Nigeria, where you can actually give poor kids access to quality education. It kind of makes it cheaper for them since you're like a college kid coming to teach. So it removes a lot of the cost of financial issues that come with quality education. There's also the need for software. There are a lot of software developers coming up with a lot of different systems, but there's a need for more for kids doing their homework, for school administration, and things like that. Also, just technological training, people who want to learn security engineering, development in all kinds of languages, and so on.
Hold on 1 second. I'm just taking your advice and opening this up a new window. Hold on. Okay, stop that. Okay, let's see here. We were on the, let's see here, the fintech, educational tech. Okay, now there's a way where I could view full screen. There we go. Okay, and then let me do this. Let me come back to StreamYard. Let's see here. Oh God, just be patient with me. I'm getting it together. I'm getting it together. Here we go. Application window, no Chrome tab. Here we go. Okay, all right, go ahead. Go ahead. You there? Did I lose
Yeah,
you?
this is the old one. I sent you a new one with pictures.
Okay, this is what pulled up when hold on, this is what pulled
Then
up. Hold on one second. Let me go back. Hold on. So I got this one from you 2 hours ago. The one I'm showing right now. You said another one.
yeah, I sent two.
When's the latest one? Because the one I got was from 2 hours ago. That's the latest one I got.
Okay. Okay, no worries. We can continue.
So this one has pictures. You see the dang goatees and the.
Mm-hmm.
So you have more pictures.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we just got to roll with this one. All right. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Okay.
then,
Yeah. So we talked about education. So let's move on to. Okay. So let me just quickly preface. Somebody in the chat is asking about financing. That a lot of the things that I'm talking about requires financing. No, not really. Actually, a lot of the guys that are working in this are starting the startups. They're very young. Some of them are fresh out of college. They don't have money. It's all about having a plan and having the skill set. The lady that I talked about, the first that runs the air ambulance, she doesn't even like have. She's an orphan. She doesn't even have parents that like parents are not even around, and she was able to do that by herself. So it's if you have a plan and you can identify who can help you, you would be able to do this. Even using myself as an example, when I started my company, one of the first things that I did was I ran a conference to get myself publicity. I didn't have money, but what did I do? I looked for people that could help me. When I looked for people like Hash, I looked for a number of other Nigerians on LinkedIn that were already in the industry. And I said, look, I need help. This is what I want to do. Can you help me? And they did. So my point is, you don't need money. Actually, if you want to start a business, the most important thing you need is the will and a good plan. And a will meaning that you have to be persistent and you have to be willing to do the work that it requires to do what you want to do. So moving on, music, movie, and fashion. This one is big. Nigeria is pretty much the center or the hub for music and movies on the continent. And we can argue fashion as well. Nigerians like Nigerian fashion. We mostly buy our own clothes. Even here in America, when I go to Macy's, I'm bored. So a lot of my clothes, I buy them from Nigeria, I import them from Lagos. So there are opportunities there. There are opportunities so we talk about people not telling our stories as if somebody else should be telling your stories. Why do you want white people to tell your stories, right? So if you have a story about a historical figure or anything in history that you want to talk about, you can actually start. There are opportunities in script writing in Nigeria, and there's opportunities in production. We need help with improving the quality of the videos and the movies that we create. The opportunities there in styling, just in theater overall. And we have something similar to Netflix. We have about 5 of them. I have a few examples here, Iroko TV and African Films.tv. The market is large. You can still have more. And that's pretty much it. Can we go to the next slide?
yeah.
So aside from the things that I already went into, there are other opportunities in hospitality, tourism, administration, cleaning, oil and gas. even shopping centers, and so on and so forth. So I'll just kind of leave it here because my throat is a little dry. If anybody wants to ask questions or any comments on what we've been talking about.
And guys, hit that like button as you come to the chat room, please. Thank you. Well, did Hash drop off or?
Yeah, okay. There we go.
Guys, you have any questions? Any questions? Yes? No? Okay, go ahead and continue. Go ahead and continue.
So yeah, so that's pretty much it. I don't know if Hash wants to add anything on, because I think probably Hash is the best person to talk about what it takes to be able to do business in Nigeria. What are the steps you have to take to get that network, to get those connections, and to know what's happening on ground?
Thank you. I think just to add to what you've said already, one of the most transformative factors in the American economy was the invention of credit and the ability for that credit to actually be given on a future value basis. We're seeing some of these fintechs now provide credit on a very micro scale so folks can buy what they need today and pay for it later. So that is an opportunity that exists across all these different verticals that Obsidian has spoken about today. All of these requires you to invest something today and with benefits later. Like Netflix are constantly looking for African content. They can't get enough of it, right? And what do you need? You need better cinematography. You need a lot of stories and a lot of people to shoot these, and money to produce them. Generally speaking, moving on to the how to do business in Nigeria. Number one, you want to be well introduced. It's best to go with someone who's a consultant to help you out to get into the system and go through the process. This is Africa. You may not get things done as fast, but this is a country, Nigeria specifically, that's moved almost 10 points or more in the ease of doing business index, which is a huge improvement. China back in the day wasn't easy to do business in. Mexico back in the day wasn't easy to do business in.
Right.
The new powerhouses coming on the back of the slowdown with China, Vietnam, India, they weren't easy to do business in. So it just takes a little bit of patience and getting in there and starting. Once you start, you become a player. Speaking of education, with the COVID-19 pandemic, every kid right now globally is going to school online. Globally. Which
Globally.
means there's an opportunity, there's a huge opportunity for an online school, and not only just going out there and seeing people physically, but we can also talk about opportunities where teachers are remotely delivering content. And all of this can be made possible by looking for something that you think you're good at, checking it out, okay, going through the process of building your business plan, business model, and getting in touch with a good advisor and a good business consultant to introduce you into the Nigerian system for that. There are some federal government programs like AGOA and a few others that are still lingering out there.
Cash, can you please go into detail about AGOA? Because a lot of especially African Americans are dropping a boat on that because no one really talks about it.
So for some reason, the folks that have really taken advantage of AGOA have been middle consultants, and there is very few examples. AGOA is like this. I believe during the Obama years, this is a program where other countries, developing countries, can add value to the American economy by shifting.
Uh-oh. Did he freeze up? But let's real quick, Obsidian, if you can answer this. Where do you find consultants to work with you? Are there websites? Are they in Nigeria or the States?
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you lose me?
Yeah, we had lost you for a second. If you could answer this question, Hash, where do you find consultants to work with you? Are there websites, and are they in Nigeria or in the States?
Conferences.
Okay,
Typically.
I think I'm having some.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, like I said, a lot of people don't know where to look for these. Uh,
Conferences.
that yeah, that's
Yeah.
the
So you have to so if you okay, first one of the first things, one of the very easy ways is to have African friends because we always know what's going on in our country most of the time. If you don't have any African friends on YouTube, right? There are a lot of African channels you can tune into. So there's Channels Television, there is Arise News, and there is just a bunch of them. So if you're tuned in to those TV stations, you would know what's going on the continent. They always talk about what's going on. CNBC Africa is a good one as well. If you have access to any African journals, what's the big one now? Hash. If you have access, you can sign up to some African journals. They will typically talk about conferences going on. There are some free websites also. There's one called Tech Cabal,
Tech Cabal.
TechCabal.com. Toby's yeah. So that one is also a good place to know what's happening, especially in the fintech and financial and technology industries. Tech Cabal is a good resource to know when conferences are coming up. Most of the conferences, I think, they're in March, but now it's all around, all over the map, all over the throughout the year because the industries are just getting bigger. So we have the whole entire year is filled with a lot of conferences now. So just sign up and go on all these, platforms on YouTube for African TV content and journals and some of those websites that I've mentioned, and you know what's going on basically. If you don't attend any, and there are local conferences too. But Hash, I'll let you talk about what you. I think we just lost him. Connection in Nigeria. Okay, so
yeah.
anyway, those are the ways that I can think of. Um, and I think I don't know if anybody knows nairaland.com.
I'm familiar with it. Yeah,
It's a bit of a funny place, but you could actually,
it is very.
yeah. I'm just thinking of places that are not so elite that would be
Hmm.
that would good places, to get information without having to spend too much money or going out of your comfort, going too far. Hash.
Yeah, some websites like the Africa Investor Magazine is a very good one, and just generally CNBC Africa talks about a lot of the what's going on. Actually, it's also cool if you did a Google alert and just simply put Nigeria business startup and did a Google alert for everything that comes out of this, and you'd see a lot of stuff too that way. You'd have to be a good judge of what content makes sense from a reputable news source or not. But that's a good way just to see the plethora of things that are possible from Nigeria. At the end of the day, all these opportunities we've spoken about are they're live, they're active. There are more opportunities and there are people taking advantage of them right now. Coupled with the fact that Nigeria per capita GDP output in terms of per person is very low, which means labor is cheap for now, and also very educated. The part of the economy that's educated is very educated, and the part of the economy that's skilled is very skilled. There's a skilled workforce that you can work with out there. So with that, I think going forward, there's probably more websites, and we can provide more going forward.
Okay. Anything you want to add, Obsidian? If not, we'll take a couple calls. We'll take a couple calls. Okay, guys, if you want to call in, all right, Uhuru and search for Uhuru.com. Black 12212. Send me. Go ahead and call in. Send me email and I'll send you the link. So if you guys want to call in and ask a question, we'll take a couple questions. Send an email Uhuru at searchforUhuru.com, and we will address whatever question you might have. Meanwhile, guys, make sure you hit that like button. Thank you for super chatting. I appreciate it. Means a lot. Thank you so much. And I appreciate Obsidian Hash for coming on and joining us for this discussion. Obsidian, how long have you been in America? Were you born here or were you born in Ogun State?
No, I was born in Lagos actually, but my family is from Ogun State.
Okay.
Where Obasanjo's clan, that area.
Okay.
Yeah,
Abeokuta.
Abeokuta, yeah.
Okay.
He knows Nigeria so well now, yeah. Yeah, so I came here for college. I went back to Nigeria for a while too, for about a year and a half. And then, went to get to know people and connect with my high school, mates and all of that. And then I came back for my master's and just kind of started my own thing and partnered with people like Hash and all the other guys that helped me pretty much start my business.
Okay, let's see. Any specific industries the Nigerian government is offering incentives for investors?
Sorry, what was the question? Any specific what?
Any. In fact, let me read the super chat question. How can I become your go-to person for consulting services? I am a certified supply chain manager, Isaiah H. But I don't. I mean, send me an email, Isaiah. I don't. I don't know you. Just send me email. Send me email, brother. Uhuru@searchforhoover.com. Send me email, and then we can chop it up offline. I have not got an email from you, Black Male Economic. Oh, hold on. Let's see here. JCAC. You got to call this. You got to call Israel.
The comments are so funny.
JCAC. You got to call. You got to call.
Ventures Africa is a good resource. I saw that show up a few times in the chat.
Yeah.
All right, Willie phone link. Black Male Empowerment. I have not received your email yet.
Even Bella Naija for the girls on the show. Bella Naija is a good one. They typically broadcast events about tech. Also, they broadcast a lot of information about the beauty industry. So people like Tara, there's a company called Tara Cosmetics. There's another one called Bossy. Those are the big cosmetic companies now in Nigeria, and they're all owned by Nigerians. So they specialize in makeup and foundations and all those types of things, lip glosses and so on. So if you want to get into the business of beauty in Nigeria, Nigeria is perfect. The women love to look beautiful, very, very superficial in Nigeria. We dress up just to sit down at home. So you have a big market there if you're into beauty and fashion.
Any specific industries the Nigerian government is offering incentives for investors such as tax credit?
I think Ogun State, I know for sure. I think there's something going on in Edo, so I'll let Hash talk about that. But in Ogun State, they're offering 40,000 hectares of land. They freed that up in 2019 for agriculture. So it's not exactly tax-free, but or it's not exactly, but it's the land is cheap, and you're going to be given a lot of help. Technical help, technical know-how, knowledge about what's on ground. You're going to get a lot of support from the government because Ogun State government is extremely serious. That governor is very, very serious about development and expansion in that state.
And just to buttress Obsidian's point, Ogun State is right next to Lagos. So it is the natural overflow for all the economic activities. 60% of the economic activity is around Lagos, and Ogun State is pretty much in some parts on, you can't tell the difference between Lagos and Ogun State because so many factories have just mushroomed up into Ogun State. In Edo State, they're doing a lot. There's a huge tech, Google's involved, Facebook is involved, a tech center in Benin City, the ancient city of Benin, where they're bringing about 40 tech companies, getting young people involved in coding and all kinds of technical learning. At the same time, there's manufacturing. Now, may not be on paper in terms of incentives. You have to think of Africa the same way. I'm a huge beneficiary of American incentives, bringing a German company to Richmond, Virginia, where I worked for a few years. And it's different here, even if you don't necessarily get a direct incentive from the government. If you go into a field that is novel, you could start a startup there, and there'd be literally no regulation for you for a while, and so you'd be charting very free territory for a little bit.
Okay, I sent the link out for people who want to call in. So we're just waiting on you guys. Let's see, we got another. Let's
I'm
see.
saying
I have been hesitant because the poor infrastructure is going to make it challenging and more costly. Do you know if the government is doing absolutely? So I know for a fact right now the what's the name of the road from Semi-Border to Lagos to Benin Republic? They're fixing that road. Damn, what's the help me out. What's the name of that road?
is it Badagry?
Badagry Highway. Badagry
Yeah.
Highway.
Badagry Expressway.
I
Expressway.
drove.
Yeah. So they're fixing that.
That road is terrible.
Oh, it's
but-
awful. It's awful. So usually when I go to Benin Republic and I want to go to Nigeria by road, I go through, instead of Semi-Border, I go through Porto Novo, and that road is a little bit better. But Semi-Border, oh God, it's terrible. All right, we got somebody on the line. Go ahead, JCAC.
Yo, Dynast, peace, everyone.
Go
My question was about Green Africa Airways. I know as of like 2019, they purchased like 40. They had an order for like 40 787 Maxes, and those were the airplanes that crashed in Ethiopia, the faulty airplanes. So I wanted to know, have you all heard anything about them lately? What they're doing?
Where's Green African Airways based out of? I never heard of them.
It's based out of Lagos. Look it up. Like they're a new company. It's a startup.
Oh really? Oh okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they were going to purchase 40 787s, but those were the faulty aircraft that crashed in Ethiopia. So I'm just curious as to what their next move is, because I wouldn't purchase 40 of those airplanes if I was them.
Hash, do you know anything about that? Who owns the company?
You know what? First of all, there are so many. I can't tell you how many meetings I've been in when someone's starting to start an airline or a cargo line. Everybody's always starting an airline. I just pull it up on Google and it says they're switching to Airbus. I don't know anything about this company. Until they get a license and start flying, then we'll believe them. We have a saying here in Benin. It says, "Wait and see." You got to show me. It's like Missouri. You got to show me. That's the kind of situation we got out here in terms of an airline company, because the space is very crowded now with the COVID-19 shutdown for all air routes right now. I wonder what their fate is. We'll have to look at that and see. They're unknown, except you told us right now, and they're on Google saying they're going to pick up Airbuses instead, but we don't know anything about them yet.
Okay. I was because it was a pretty big thing online. And I was doing a little research, and apparently they have a deal with Mohammed whatever airport. They're supposed to be flying out of there this year. So
I think the bigger thing to note in Africa is online is one story in one way. I'll tell you, before I visited in 2007, I was listening to all this hip hop on africanhiphop.com, and it turned out to be actually more underground, because when I finally visited Nigeria, what was on the radio waves and what was pumping on the clubs was very different from what I was hearing being in the US. So sometimes that's why it's also good to start looking for online resources that give you up to the minute. The Guardian.ng, it's a newspaper. It's the same Guardian like the one in the UK. It's very good for that. Vanguard is another good newspaper. Ventures Africa. There's a lot of stuff going on the ground. And I think that it's also good to look at some media and some of the content that's locally produced. So Green Africa Airways may have made a lot of buzz online, but until they start flying, This is Africa. TIA. We're gonna keep looking.
Okay.
CIA.
Yeah, it'll just be nice to get a national Nigerian airline that flies to America because Eric Air got banned.
Yeah. Eric had a lot of
Air
issues.
Peace.
Air Peace
Air
is
Peace
better.
just flew COVID-19 materials right now from China to Nigeria, and at some point in the last administration of the same president, there was some news about setting up a national airline, but again, we haven't. Say again.
I mean, it doesn't make sense. It's Nigeria. You have to have a national airline. Like, why does it the biggest country in Africa not have a national airline?
Does America have a national airline? So we've got 4 airlines.
Here we go. An airline that actually fly. Like, let me ask you this: even Eric, does Eric Air fly to Europe or anywhere outside of Africa? I don't.
They used to.
Yeah,
they
used
anymore.
to. We have MedView now and Air Peace.
Air Peace flies to Europe.
I think they fly London, but a lot of. So here's what has happened, right? The airlines that have the airspace licenses for going some of these routes have, for one reason or the other, during the 2000. Remember, there was a downturn, 2016 downturn that was caused by the crash in oil, because Nigeria depends. One of the reasons why a lot of the opportunities Obsidian's been talking about exist is because the country depends so much on a natural resource, which is hydrocarbons or crude oil and gas. And so when the price went down for oil, the country took a hit, and some of these airways or airlines also took a hit along with it. So did the Nigerian naira. It devalued, which makes it a fantastic paradise for manufacturing right now, and just an amazing place right now to actually manufacture and be a supplier to Europe and the US.
Guys, any other if you want to call, guys, I sent the link out to some other people, so if you want to call in, you have the link. Court Tail, I sent you the link. All right, JCAC, I'm gonna send you the link, brother. I'm gonna send you the link. All right, so like I said, we'll take a couple more callers, then we'll go ahead and close out. Again, everyone, thank you for joining. Hit that like button. Again, hit the like button as you come to the chat room. Yeah, but I don't think any. Now, I take that back. I think maybe Air Peace might fly to Dubai.
Yes.
But they're
starting out.
Right, but there's no major like Nigerian airline that. There should be no reason why there should not be a Nigerian airline that is comparable to Ethiopian Airlines. There should be no reason. Ethiopian Airlines flies all over the planet.
They would have it. It's going to happen. It's a matter of time. It will happen. What happened was in Nigeria, or just in Africa in general, we understand that the government is not efficient, and we're starting to understand that a lot better now. So a lot of the things that the government used to run, like airlines and all of those other things, the government is winding down. So the private sectors, they're starting to see the opportunities now for them to come in. So as they consolidate and get themselves together, it's going to happen that somebody in the private sector, a few people, would start to fly across the world.
Cortiel, go ahead, bro. Cortiel.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. Cortiel.
Hello?
Yeah, go ahead, bro. Go ahead. Answer your question.
Hey, man, what's up? What's up? I've been watching you for a little minute, man. What's up?
What's going on, bro?
So my question is, do y'all think it would be good to put on like a diaspora fund, like an investment fund, where we can all pull our money in together?
Yeah, absolutely. As long as it's not mismanaged, why not? As long as it's not mismanaged and there's an end game and there's, as far as a clear objective of where the money's going to be, what the money's going to be invested to, yeah, why not?
So this is exactly how 3 or 4 of the major, what have become now private equity firms, started out as venture capital firms. Companies like Actis, AIM, Africa Infrastructure Investment Management Fund, ARM, and all these other guys. They started out as a fund that was targeted to some industries, where we pool money together. It's
The
just for us
diaspora.
to have, yeah, from diaspora. Diaspora put in more money into the Nigerian economy last year than did oil and gas, which is the #1 Nigerian industry in terms of making money. Well, in terms of profits anyway, and giving money to the government. But diaspora put in more money. Now, if that money went into funding things like, there's healthcare, huge healthcare challenges. There are challenges around tech and manufacturing. So you could have venture funds deployed where you have oversight from American oversight, and also and local oversight. So that makes it more exactly what the host was saying. Prince was saying, you have to make sure it's used for the right purposes, and also that it's not mismanaged, and that's how you do that.
Right. Because I mean, one of the things that I was thinking is like, right now we're overly reliant on like the West, quote unquote white folks, for funding. Like, we're the black-owned banks. Um, Ghana has a lot of gold. Nigeria has a lot of oil. We got a lot of natural resources, but where's the black sort of, you know, you know, 10 people, 100 people, 1,000 people put the money together, and then one month we fund this, and then the next month we fund that. I don't see a lot of that going on in the black community. You know what I mean?
No, I agree. I agree. It's just, the majority of Black
It's
Americans.
there, but
I was going to say
it's there, but not at the level. Yeah,
That
it's
is,
there. We call it isusu
yeah,
for some different names.
yeah, but the thing is, the susu is usually utilized to acquire assets here in America. The people who run susu here in America. That's the problem. It's not really. This is how I see it. This is how I break it down. This is my theory or whatever. The money, the remittance that gets sent to Nigeria is nothing more than glorified aid for people's families. The susu that's practiced amongst Nigerians here in America, that's to acquire assets and build businesses here in America. So they take their earnings from their investments here in America, they sit in home to feed their families. That's why when people, when I hear Nigerians bragging about and boasting about the amount of money they send home, in my honest opinion, is nothing but glorified aid. That's just I could be wrong, but that's just what I observe.
yeah, I mean, I want to say that it's happening already, but it's not happening at the level that it should. And I think that's what Hatch was alluding to. We already have those things in place. So ARM Investments, it's a fund that pretty much brings together lots of capital from the diaspora, Nigerians in diaspora. There's Actis Capital. They do a lot of venture investments in Nigeria. So those things are already there. But I think because Nigeria is so big, or just the continent is so big, and the needs are there, it's not very visible. So what we have to do is increase the level, but these things are there already. The guy talked about banking. 90% of the banks in Nigeria are owned by Nigerians.
Right.
Yep. Have UBA, it's Nigerian owned. Diamond Bank, Zenith, every bank except maybe one or two. There are 25 banks. Out of those 25 banks, only 2 banks are owned by non-Nigerians. So we already have that. So the thing is, I think a lot of people need to visit Africa so that they can understand the market. And that way you have more knowledge about what's on ground and how you can actually participate in a very productive way for yourself. You really have to understand the market and what's going on there.
Yeah, it's not the case
in fact.
Yeah, see, I think
Go ahead.
City. I think Cortez, are you in America?
Yeah, I'm in
Yeah,
Memphis
he's
too.
talking about from an Black American's perspective as far as the diaspora fund. And like, why aren't the black banks sponsoring it or putting up
No,
money
but
for it?
he's spot on. There just isn't a fund. There just isn't a fund. That is an opportunity, and we sort of alluded to it with the fintechs. That's an opportunity in itself to create a black fund where you could invest into Africa. And it is good to visit, just like Obsidian said, because one thing about Africa is just by living in America, for doing nothing else but living your regular life, you go down there and all you see is opportunity, right? You just see all the opportunities you can simply copy over into the economy. And if you had a black fund that could take more risk, that could actually fund startups better, because all these funds we told you about, one of the things that's peculiar about them is they want things that are not too risky, if you know what I mean. And so there is no organic startup fund to fund stuff except for tech, where it's very cheap to start.
Hopefully that answers your question, Cortez.
Yeah.
All right, brother. We appreciate you coming on.
Peace.
Peace. All right, brother.
Hey, what's going on? Uh,
Ebo Quenu.
hey, So I just want to say, I've been watching your show for a long time, Dinas. It's been awesome. Try to share. I'm a college student at Georgia Tech, and I try to share like.
So you're in Atlanta. You here in Atlanta?
Yes, sir. I am. Yep.
We got to get up, man. I mean,
Yeah.
You're a corner.
Absolutely, and I'm a big member of our African Student Association at Georgia Tech, and like the trying to bridge that gap from like the Africans in like the tech, more of like a holistic view, as well as of actually being on the continent, having that perspective that you present is what I'm trying to bridge more heavily. So I definitely want to like hopefully build that connection on that end from like the student college space, especially in the tech field. But I came on mainly to ask about what Obsidian has shared about in the last talk. She mentioned about how gold refining is starting to be a developed industry in Nigeria. And me personally, I'm working on a jewelry startup to, just try to promote, different African cultures through jewelry pieces, fine jewelry, demi-fine and fine jewelry. And you mentioned how Nigeria is looking to try to improve the value chain from taking these precious materials and turning them into other things. So turning into technology, or for like, jewelry and things like that. I just wanted to know, like, if you knew anything about, or if you could speak on anything related to the jewelry industry in Nigeria. Like, are there any popular jewelry hubs or any patterns in the jewelry space that you might know of, or like any place that's known for jewelry manufacturing or jewelry related things in Nigeria? I just wanted to get more insight about that.
Yeah, so Nigeria is huge for gold, huge. In fact, I know a lot of Nigerians that don't wear anything else but gold. In Kano is a hub. So I know that in Kano, there are 20,000 unique buyers of gold every single day, and they all come from all over West Africa, right? We don't even know how many people are trading in Lagos, but Lagos is so tricky, right? And there's a lot of underground buying and selling that is not accounted for. We're guessing that it's in the billions of dollars, but because it's not really tracked, we're not really sure. But we know that there's money in gold business in Nigeria. A lot of Nigerians go to Dubai. If you go to India, Nigerians are known for buying gold in India. When they see a Nigerian, they think you're here to buy gold. Same thing.
I was in Jaipur. I was in Jaipur, India, and like all the Nigerians that I saw, they were.
Yeah.
it was what you said,
Yeah. So the thing is, instead of us going to all these countries to buy gold, because these countries actually don't have the deposits, they're just very good at refining. So we have to, we want to bring all of that value chain into Nigeria. And that is what companies like Thor Exploration.
Thor,
it's THOR.
Oh, Thor. Okay.
Yeah, Thor. Yeah. And what's the other one? Kian Smith. They're both Nigerian owned. That is what both of them are trying to do. And I know that Kian, in particular, Kian Smith, she's looking for jewelers. She's looking for jewelers, and she's looking for anybody that is ready to be part of the jewelry value chain. So
Yeah.
I can definitely give you a contact later on offline, or just,
Absolutely.
they're very
Yeah.
they're looking for people. So they're ready. It's fresh. This is what I'm saying. These companies are just starting, so they're open to people. When they
Yeah.
get too big, you will not be able to contact them anymore. So this is the time to start
Yeah.
talking. I hope that helps.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that did. Thank you. Dinus, is there a way I could get that contact information from
Yeah, well,
Obsidian?
this is what I do. After the stream, I'll get you connected with Obsidian, and you guys can,
Perfect.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
No problem, brother. Hey, Osita, you got there's an echo on your end. It's okay. Go ahead,
Can you hear me?
yeah, I hear you. Go ahead and answer something. Go ahead.
Yeah, man. I just want to add something on it. Like I used to tell you about tourism. Tourism. This is where you have a power in Nigeria. It's a very big opportunity. Especially the southeast. You know what I'm saying? And agriculture as well. I told you agriculture and buying properties. I mean land, not even building, but you have to buy a piece of land. If you're coming from the diaspora or you're African American, this is a very good way to start a business in Nigeria. You have to own you have to own a land, and you can build something on it. If it's logistics, whatever you want to do, but you have to have your own space, and that becomes your space, permanently. And secondly, export. We're talking about palm wine. You remember?
Yes.
In Lagos. Yes. Yeah, man. I saw palm wine. I saw palm wine. I saw palm wine canned in Athens just last month.
Yeah, but
Ghana.
The issue is like the real palm wine will spoil trying to get it from Nigeria to America.
Yeah, it depends on how it's being packaged. I told you I saw in Athens last month from Ghana. I was surprised because I was the one that was telling you that it's difficult to export, but it's a very good opportunity to export because it's a very, very good drink, natural drink, a kind of wine. I don't know if you guys know about it.
Oh yeah.
And like the guy that just left. Yeah. What? In Igbo we call it nkwenu.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a very, very essential product. We can always. It's about the refining it or how to package it to export it. But this is it, export, because there is a lot of goods coming in the country. Importation is a kind of there is no space on the field. You know what I'm saying? So what I do mostly is export right now. I do importation as well, but I prefer to be exporting, not to be bringing something from the West, into Nigeria like garbages anymore. And like I said, agriculture, tourism, tourism. We have to meet with the people, the know-who, and I'm saying, like, you have to meet. A lot of people are watching this right now, but we have to do something about tourism in Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very, very big business. We got the Atlantic Ocean. Nothing is happening. We got some islands all around there. We have to promote it, and we have to bring in people. The diasporans, they have to be coming in. So when they come in, they can feel comfortable, spending 20 days, 15 days in the country, safe, beaching around, going to the woods and all that. And like I used to tell you, you have to spend more time in Nigeria.
I do.
I've been to the other side of, when I started going to to Africa, I started with Benin. I've been to Burkina Faso, Togo, so I know how that places work. It's easy to come in there, but that is not the main place. If you really want to succeed in Africa, we have to be honest with ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Nigeria is a little bit harsh.
you know, if you come in from, you know, from the States or from West, it starts as a beginning, but immediately you go in, and there are a lot of people. For example, right now, America wants to evacuate its citizens from Nigeria, right? And 7,000 Nigerians appeared at the airport. So that shows you that there are a lot of diasporans working and living in Nigeria. So I don't see any reason why people should be scared. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mark, we appreciate it, brother.
We appreciate it, brother.
Yes, sir. I think you
Yes, sir. I think you froze it.
All right. Yeah, what we'll do, we'll go ahead and close out.
Just
yeah, we'll go ahead. What we'll do, we'll go ahead and
okay.
close out. If you want to respond, and then we'll go ahead and close out.
Now, I just wanted to point the fact to the amazing tourism industry that exists in Lagos. I think Cardi B sort of put it on the map, but there's a lot to see and do. And every December and in the summer, we see people from diaspora come in to Nigeria, especially Lagos, and go around the area, visit a lot of the monuments. And there's a lot of, even I have friends from the UK, from America, who are not Nigerian, and they always rave about the amount of restaurants that we have here and all the things to see and do. It's a very vibrant urban tourist scene with enough of the local.
Oh, we lost him. Somebody said
environment also, and so that's the opportunity.
Someone was speaking. I can get palm wine in Atlanta. Yeah, I know I can, but trust me, the palm wine in the bottle is not the same getting it straight from the tree. Right, you can taste the difference. Trust me.
Game meat.
Yeah, it's not the same. All right, Obsidian. Anything you want to share in closing?
That's pretty much it. I'd say if you want to support importing African products to the United States, there are lots of African restaurants. Stop going to Chinese restaurants to eat. Food tastes really nice. Jollof rice is really good. So you can support importing African products by going to African restaurants to eat. Just go on Google, you find them. And also even going to African markets to shop for groceries. Those are small ways, but they'll go a long way into kind of putting a dent in Nigeria. And that's pretty much it.
All right. And then people want to know, how can they get in contact with you guys? How can they reach out to you guys?
I'll give my can I send my contact to you, Dynast? Oh, I don't know.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I think that works for me too. And then you can let folks know.
Okay, so guys, if you want to reach out to Obsidian and Hash, email me, Uhuru at searchforuhuru.com, and then I will forward you guys the information. And be in serious inquiries, okay? Be serious. All right, serious inquiries, all right? So everyone, hold on. Mark, closing?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Say, closing?
I'm here.
I'm saying, are you done?
Yeah, I just made my point. I'm listening. I made my point. I don't know if there is something I need to add.
Okay. All right, you guys. So thank you so much for joining. Make sure you go to dynastymirror.com, like, share, subscribe. Until next time, family. Dynasty Mirror, search for Uhuru. Peace.
All right. Thank y'all.
Mm-hmm.